Hello, everybody, and welcome. Welcome to the Digital Basement. I am, of course, Mr. MKL, and we are hanging out here today for the very first episode of Critical Frame. This is a new show that I have put together here with the help of some good friends who I'm gonna actually, you might see them there at the bottom. Let's bring them on in here. I am of course joined today by a couple of folks who know a lot more about video games and making them than I do. I am the guy who won't shut up about niche fighting games. We all know that at this point. But if we're going to talk about games in depth, if we're going to discuss fighting games properly, I figure it's a good idea to get a couple folks on here who have some real bona fides, right? Who have some legitimate experience. So I am joined by AndreaD Demetrio as well as Tom Goldrick, known as AndreaD Projects and Mohast Gridlock. Say hello, folks. Introduce yourselves.
Just a question, it's Demetrio, not Dimitrio.
Oh, sorry,
Dimitrio is only something that Americans say. Sorry, but I'm having this issue every time. No, it's Demetrio.
All right, AndreaD Demetrio. Hopefully that's a little better. I'm
yeah,
trying. No.
Leave it to Andrea. It's fine.
And no, you nailed my basic ass American name. So thanks,
right.
Appreciate it.
Beautiful.
You got me. And I don't know about accolades, but I appreciate you inviting me on. Either way.
Well, I mean, both of you are game developers and game designers, so let's let people know who you are. People hear me talk all the time. They don't necessarily hear you guys talk all the time. So, Andrea, what is your history? Where do you come from? And what do you bring into the table in this discussion about fighting games today?
So, okay, my history is pretty long, we can say, but I'm basically the developer of Schwarzer Blitz, Motion Sickness, Exploding Judo Federation, and a couple other games that are made with 2D Fighter Maker 2002, so we don't talk about them. I've been making fighting games since around 2016, more or less seriously. And yeah, my design guidelines are a little bit loose. I abide by rule of cool more than by numeric and the tables and spreadsheets. So for me, it's more important that a move feels right than it has the correct frame data, which sometimes creates pretty interesting scenarios that needs tweaking and a lot of patches and robust infinite prevention systems. But yeah, I'm one of those casual players because I'm not very fond of playing ranked in fighting mode in fighting games. Mm-hmm. So flavor and flair have priority over pure numbers in my case. So if something looks cool, I'm already happy. And so this is why my games have stuff like one-hit KO moves or very situational hyper armor install that leads into a 15 seconds chain grab and so on and so forth.
All right. And then Mohast, you are actually primarily, my understanding is, a tabletop designer, correct?
Yeah. I mean, when I was younger, I learned programming by modding games, right? So I dipped my foot into digital stuff early on, but I realized that my heart was really more in the tabletop board game, card game kind of place, and it's also a lot easier to prototype. So yeah, if you want to make a game in an afternoon and play it with your friends, you can do that fairly reasonably. So, but yeah, no, I'm working on a game called Versus Tag Shuffle that is a board game inspired by fighting games like TVC and Marvel vs. Capcom and those kind of versus fighters. Kind of an homage to those while also bringing in folks from a card game perspective, board game kind of thing. Trying to basically remove execution from fighting games and focus more in on like the mind games and the mix-ups and stuff like that. So if you want to learn anything more about that, you can check that out on my website at tommgoldrick.com. Otherwise, you can find some of my work in games like Murfight, where I'm now the announcer for that indie project. And I'm also working with some other indie developers on some marketing materials. So check me out. You might hear my voice in some other games coming soon.
A jack of all trades, maybe.
I prefer Master of None. Let's go with that.
Fair.
Yeah, same.
Yeah.
Actually, I'm in the same one-man army. One-man army, Master of None, true.
Mm-hmm.
Because in the end, for all my games, I need to handle programming, 3D modeling, sometimes music writing.
Yep.
Sometimes I'm voice acting, but I'm not saying that out loud.
Nah. You will not identify which voices.
I've been lucky enough to work with some people who are very talented, some great artists, some great, game designers. But a lot of the work is, you kind of have to be the one pulling for your project. So, but I'm also trying to be there for other folks too, right? So, like Murphy, I found out about in 2019, and that's been going on like amazingly well ever since.
Yep.
So, really proud of Matt and what they've been doing over there. And as you say, I'm addicted to this niche fighter thing. So, thank you for bringing me on.
Absolutely. Thank you for coming on and chatting with us. I'm really excited to kind of dig in. I mean, like, look, I love kind of like the clickbaity fighting game stuff as much as the next guy. But I think there's a real lack of like true discussion as opposed to the discourse. Some real discussion. And I kind of wanted to bring that to folks here. I like to talk about games from a more analytical perspective, whether it be from community, sociological perspectives, right? Like the business of fighting games is a thing for me, but also the games themselves and how they work. So I'm excited to have a couple developers who have kind of a broad breadth of knowledge to be able to take a look at an indie fighting game that is currently out in a demo form and maybe pick it apart and see how it fits into the world, like the wider world of fighting games. So this game that we're going to be talking about today, friends, is Konsui Fighter. This is a game from Circean Studios. Now, Circe's is what this stems from. Circe's was a minor Greek goddess. She was an enchantress. An enchantress known...
Modest, perhaps?
Perhaps, yeah. But she was an enchantress known for, turning people into beasts whenever they would cross her. So if you ran afoul of Circe, then you would find yourself roaming the lands as some mindless beast. So like, interesting. I don't know if the developers are trying to say something with this.
People do that on purpose,
right?
But Odysseus, but Odysseus got the good side of Circe, so maybe.
Right. I mean, but another one, like people would say something Circean is like fatally attractive. Which, honestly, I feel is kind of fitting for this game. Here, I'm going to pull up a trailer for this game to show you folks a little bit of what it's about while we give it an introduction. And this is a 2D fighting game that is completely hand-drawn. It is worked on by a team of 4 from Kansas City, I believe. So another American team working on this game.
Kansas City.
And they have been working,
anywhere.
Right? And they've been working on this game for like 14 years. I believe development started in 2010, and it had won a couple of awards over the years at various conventions and various events. And it started out actually as a mobile game, and it is now been brought to PC. There was a Steam demo released for Konsui Fighter during the Steam Next Fest. And this is a, kind of like a PC adaptation of their older Android project that they've been working on. And you can see some of the mobile UI in this trailer here with the digital buttons and stuff like that. I have some thoughts on the mobile version as well that we're going to talk about, but we're going to talk primarily about the PC version, which is what we've been playing. And this is a game that kind of took over the Digital Basement Discord in the last week or so. It was brought to our attention from a friend of the show, Super HC. And everyone in the Discord kind of latched onto it as this is pretty fascinating. And I, for one, was immediately struck by the visual look of it. I think it looks gorgeous. I think it has a really unique style. And maybe we should start off by, I'd like to get your guys' takes on what your first impressions of this game was. So, Mohast, when you first saw this game pop up in the Discord, what did you think of it?
Real answer or fake answer? Fake answer first. 3 syllables. Ki-yan-ta or Kiwana. There we go.
All right.
Kiwana.
It's a very Mortal Kombat inspired game, and it shows, right? It's just like even some of the things that are unintended, like the restand combos, it just kind of bleeds that Mortal Kombat ethos. Early 90s, when fighting games weren't as solidified in their tropes and in their, sort of basic things that all fighters do. It just has a lot of that energy. The artwork is obviously just amazing, right? It's gorgeous. So that's what drew me in first. Some of the unique ideas for special moves also caught my attention. Things that you wouldn't really expect out of a fighting game, right? So that's really where I was at.
All right, Andrea, what was your gut reaction to seeing this?
So first thing first, one reason why I immediately checked it was that it's rare that there is an indie fighter that I have never heard of. So when Super HC dropped this, I was immediately curious about it. It was like, what the bleep? How did I miss this?
Yeah.
And so I immediately checked it. First impression is a little bit weird because for some reason the visuals reminded me a little of Dual Souls, The Last Bearer.
I could see that.
But I didn't know about the mobile stuff first, and I didn't even know until after playing it. But the thing that was interesting, so then when I booted it up, it was interesting to see how much stuff was already being built. So there was already a cure in the menus, etc., that I wasn't expecting from a demo. Okay, also a little bit of a couple pain points, but these we'll discuss later. And especially, I was a little bit bluffed by a couple things. First, that in the tutorial, a couple terms that in fighting games terms are pretty much solidified, like negative edge, here was called the shadow buffer. So I wasn't really sure how big the overlap between the development and the local fighting game community was. More, like a gut reaction. I was thinking like. But the second thing that really came to was that it's in this game it's pretty strange the fact that you basically cannot combo normals into specials. This was the first thing that sounded very strange to me. But then when I managed to find out that on hit you can combo special into special or cancel special into special on block, that made me okay, what do I have in my hands now? This is something that I have not found before. Let me see what I can do with it. And then I got my first not gonna sugarcoat it touch of that combo with Kenta, and it was like, oh wow, this feels good. I want this will be patched out at the first opportunity, but this feels good.
Absolutely.
And indeed, it was patched out today.
Yes.
So...
Yes, well, so yeah, this is, like I said, I was immediately struck by the visual style, where there are a few games that I think really embrace this kind of hand-drawn style in this day and age. Most games that do anything like this, like you have the Blade Strangers team who has a whole, like, graphic design pipeline that goes from 3D model and converts it into sprites. Panthavma's Kastang engine has a similar feature as well. And so, like, people are building tools to do this kind of stuff, but just saying, no man, hand-drawn, like 12,000 frames, whatever it's going to be, that's what this team is doing. And I think that immediately shone through. And a very astute point bringing up the Dual Souls game, who also have an interesting lineage as a mobile game as well. They were a Game Boy game that turned into a mobile series that is now on PC as well. And those are, and they also have a very, I wouldn't say similar, but a comparable hand-drawn aesthetic. That is really being embraced. So I would say, first of all, just it looks unique.
It does, yeah.
If I can only say anything, I think that one thing that really strikes me really positively is the animations. Like, one small criticism that I can give to Dual Souls is that while the frames are they're well drawn, the animations look sometimes very stiff. While in Konsui Fighter, I have to say that the animations were so freaking fluid that it really looks good in motion. This was the first thing that struck me. And then when I got to the bird stage in the tutorial, I was like, oh wow, oh wow, this looks so good.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, as you said, Skies of Honor, but with a big burb instead.
Big bird, Skies of Honor.
It's actually relaxing as opposed to, like, nauseating.
Yeah, 100%. So, yeah, like it made a very good first visual impression on me. But then you're right. I think the way the game functions mechanically is atypical for most fighting games. I said usually you have this like this structure of normals, either link or chain into other normals, which will cancel into specials and cancel into supers. Right? That's just like the general chain. And then you have moves that will like bridge things to extend your combos, like wall bounces or ground bounces or stagger states. But like Konsui Fighter just says, you're not going to do the normal into special link, but your specials are going to be a really big important part of this. And as soon as you throw out a special, then you can cancel, like you said, Andrea, from special into the same special or into different ones, into EXs, right? And then use your normals as the bridge between the different parts of your combos. I found it to be a very like unique and interesting approach to it, which you're right. At first, like you see it and you're like, I don't know, what's going on here, right? And then once you realize how it works, it starts being like, oh, it clicked and it was like, this feels really good.
Also, counter hits.
Sorry?
Noticing that counter hits cause longer hits done helped.
Yes.
Right? Because I'm sitting there on a dummy going, why can't I link anything, right?
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just because you need to counter hit first. That being said, you're right. Across the board, I'd say it's very difficult to link just about anything besides specials into other specials.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, the only natural combos that I found was Kenta heavy kick into uppercut and the Kyuki, so the bird girls, close light kick into air flash kick. These were the only two combos that really worked every time for me.
Yeah.
But in most cases, it's the special into special cancel. Which...
Yeah, with the girl that drinks wine, I don't remember her name. She can do standing punch into uppercut into spin. That's the only one I've found. Like heavy punch, I should say.
Well, Mohast, would you maybe it's probably a good idea to go over kind of like the basics of the systems in this game. Did you wanna take a stab at this? Like, what is the core of Konsui Fighter?
So I would say the one thing that really makes it stand apart, at least from modern games, right, is this phantom buffer. Is that what it's called? The negative
shadow
edge.
Buffer.
Let's just call it negative edge. Shadow buffer. Thank you. Being able to basically take an input, right? I have my controller here. It's gonna blur out, but whatever. Put it next to my face. There we go. You press a button, and that's an input, right? And then you do some other thing, and then letting go of that button counts as a secondary input. Just for the lay people out there. That is an interesting little system, right? It makes canceling things into other stuff, pretty damn quick. You don't have to worry about that extra input, that extra, lifting up and pressing down. You've seen that in other games like Street Fighter the movie. Negative Edge is also really popular in games like Guilty Gear, where you're controlling a puppet character and you want to do something while your character's busy doing something else. But in this game, it does offer you some interesting cancel opportunities. That being said, it doesn't seem to be like a necessary mechanic to do combos. It's more a supplementary mechanic. I may be way off, right? Maybe all we're saying about this combos are wrong because we don't understand this shadow buffer thing. But I think it's reasonable to assume, right, that it's more of a supplementary mechanic than a necessary mechanic for combos. And otherwise, you have your 3 bars of meter. Pretty generic there. You get meter, you spend it on stuff, whether it's EX or ES specials or supers when you have all 3 bars filled up. You also have I believe it's just a burst meter. I don't know if it does anything else. Yeah. But you gain up this meter over time, and you can press that button to burst out. You can offensively burst. You can defensively burst. It doesn't actually look like 100% in terms of a defensive option. You can be burst baited, it looks like. But we'll see. We're still developing the sort of meta, so to say.
Yeah. On this topic, actually, offensive burst doesn't offer very many advantages because the recovery time is so long that you are basically resetting to neutral. And defensive burst, actually, it's baitable but works very well. And the thing that it's very interesting to me is that you gain burst meter so fast in this game that you can burst up to 3 times per round, depending on how fast you use your first burst, which is okay. In the current meta with a little bit of infinites, it's a blessing.
A little bit.
But, but it's also something that I have not seen often.
Yeah.
Well, regarding the way block stun and hit stun work, you actually moves in part, right? More block stun than hit stun.
Yeah.
So you end up in these situations with like really, really oppressive block strings. So the fact that your burst meter builds up to 3 times per round seems to make sense. That seems to be like the natural counter to that kind of oppressive like combo structure and pressure structure.
Technically, there is also an instant block that should instead allow for punishment and so on, because specials, currently most special are not punishable on block. They are extremely safe, and they can be cancelled into other special that are safe. So punishing, it's almost inexistent in the current.
That's another thing I forgot to mention. Specials can be canceled into other specials. So you can change specials as long as they hit.
Yeah.
Hit or block.
Or block, yeah. You can't do it on whiff. But that's not the same for normals, so keep that in mind, right? If you hit with even just like a disparate uppercut with Kento, you can still do a ground slam. You know what I mean? Cancel it immediately and get that combo. So keep that in mind as you're chaining specials into specials. It's almost like King of Fighters 13 with the way that you're able to cancel specials into specials over and over and get those loops.
Mm-hmm. And as you mentioned, like the way this kind of stuff works, the cancel system, the way the moves work, the way the combo structure is, it feels very old school Mortal Kombat.
Yes.
And it feels like a lot of very old school games. I get Eternal Champion vibes so hard from this game. It's wild. Like there's something about the way the combo flow feels that reminds me of those old Wild West games. And then even just like the fact that like what cancels into what is, it's not arbitrary, but there's not this like consistent, very delineated system like you get out of most modern fighting games. So it lends this feel of old school fighting game, which admittedly from the developers is a major inspiration for them.
Yeah. Even their pipeline seems old school Mortal Kombat, right?
Oh, yeah.
They're taking photos, reference photos of themselves or actors in poses, and then working that into the artwork. And I think it pays off, right?
Yeah.
Like Tiger Tournament, but
Yes.
with the difference.
Kiwana.
The difference is that for Tiger Tournament, the developer also got masked as Kiwana.
That's true.
While they are actually drawing their sprites over the frames. This is the big difference. But the green screen part is the same for both, and this is actually unbelievably cool.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to mention some of the old school jank. Andrea and I actually found just previous to the stream, the bird girl, for her grab, it looks like the opponent can dash out of it. So the first part will like grab them. And then she goes to hit them, and you can just dash away, not get hit.
Or block it. Somehow block it.
I don't know where you block it. Yeah, we did a lot of weird stuff today.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So,
The funniest part was this breaker extra thing where Mohast died, but kept on going after being KO'd and KO'd me instead. And the KO button remained. So the KO message was still on the screen and remained on the screen while he killed me. And then the game went on until he kept pressing buttons. The game went on. He could also charge meters while
as long as I was doing
that.
something.
That's amazing, right? Yeah,
I
and
think
this
it was a
is,
rollback issue, but
look, Breaker's Revenge taught us this is a feature, not a bug. So,
early dev.
Yeah. Well, and that's it. This game is currently being worked on. Like I said, when we first started playing this game, I think one of the first things that all the players noticed was that jumping in this game had a strange delay to it. And my supposition was that it was connected to its lineage as a mobile game and the way their input system worked. But that is something that was patched just today, in fact.
Yeah.
And now it's like jumping is very, very responsive, much like the rest of the movement was in the game prior to that.
Yeah.
So these things are still being worked on. The devs are being responsive, and so. Just as a little side note, everyone, try the demo. It's on Steam, and you can give your feedback too.
Yep. Only one thing that I wanted to signal, if the developers are in chat, we tried some matches with Mohast, and for some reason, when I was player 2, I couldn't ground dash. That was
and
strange.
He couldn't be player 1.
Yeah, but this is... Yeah, for some reason. We were both wired, so not Wi-Fi, etc. But every time it was player 1, the game was crashing, so disconnecting. And every time it was player 2, I could hair dash, but not ground dash. That was weird. So we had some nice match with Dashless Kenta, which is the most oppressive keep-out character in the game.
Yeah.
Oh, we didn't even mention there's no lows. There's no low
Oh, yeah?
blocking or
Oh,
anything.
yeah.
There's
Yeah.
just stand blocking.
Like Fantasy Strike.
Yep. Like
Yeah.
Fantasy Strike, like I'm trying to think. There are other mobile games that do that as well, but not the ones I've been playing.
Also 52-bit up does
52-bit up
even if
does
it's not
that.
a...
Yeah, Duels. No, Duels isn't. What's the other one? Arcus Chroma. Is that it?
Arcus Chroma has
Is that
no
high-low?
jumping.
Okay, but it still has high-low. Yeah.
Yep, and it has overheads too.
Yeah, but no, you're right. There are a handful of mobile games that do that limit the button real estate. Tough Love Arena does that,
Yeah.
and they prevent you from either jumping or crouching, and spread out their moves elsewhere in their button real estate. But yeah, that is. I think that is actually. It's one of the interesting things when talking about the lineage of these games, noting that Konsui Fighter comes from a mobile development background, I think legitimately does inform some of those design decisions and why you might see some of this, right? So it's interesting now that it's moving away from mobile platform. Like, it was developed in Java, I believe. So, right, like moving away from that now, it's they have an opportunity to change some of that stuff, but it's kind of already created an identity for itself. So I'm not sure how much they'd even necessarily want to change that, instead of just like kind of embrace where they're at. So we talked a little bit about like where the company came from, its lineage, some of the presentation and the visuals. We've talked about some of the mechanics, the characters. I think maybe so. This demo comes with 4 characters. You've seen some of the footage playing that I've been playing here on stream. I'm going to get back to some of it.
Yep, 4 characters plus 1 AI-only opponent that
Yes.
appears in story mode.
Yes. So I guess, yes, also outside of 4 characters, there is a story mode available, there's a training mode available, as well as a versus. There is online as well with rollback netcode. It's just a simple queue. There are no real options for like lobbies or anything like that at this point. But you are able to play against other people. Yeah, so we have 4 characters, and arcade mode too, as Warthog says. Isamu and Kyuki are the 2 here on screen now, so I guess this is a good place to start. Isamu is kind of the all-arounder, the swordsman. He has a handful of attacks, including this lunge attack, a launcher, and a sword toss. You can see there, and that's kind of his core combo tools, comboing through them basically.
Or combo tool is forward, punch.
Yeah.
That's all you need.
Yeah. The only thing he misses is the projectile. And also he has this very slow but powerful charge attack that unfortunately, in my opinion, it's a little bit too hard to use in a real match.
As most charge moves are in this, I think.
Yeah. So yes, worth noting about how the motion inputs are in this game, because it came from mobile and it has no crouching. It's all like forward, or forward back, or charge motion.
It also has
It's Mortal Kombat inputs.
It's Mortal Kombat inputs.
9, but it also has a sort of quarter circle. Down forward, for example, it's one of the inputs for Kyuki, and down backwards.
That's still like
too.
a Mortal Kombat input, though, right? Like,
yeah, but
not
down
too
is
far off.
used. So the point is, down is still used for inputs, but it does, because it's also the meter charge in neutral.
yeah.
Mhm.
So
And-
if you hold down back, you block, but when you're not blocking, you charge meter.
And you don't stay in place though, right?
No,
You
No.
do if you're charging.
If you're charging,
charging
you
the
stop and
meter.
stay in place. Okay.
If you're charging the meter, you
Okay.
do not if you are trying to do a special thing. Yeah, I think you might actually. We'll test. But yeah, it's weird. I don't want to say anything too definitively.
Yeah. Well, and yeah, you can see here is Punk in chat saying the losing animation on the ladder was so cute. Yeah, it's like, once again, there's an MK style ladder arcade mode which you can get into, and they have these little animations on the like when for the character profile, the character portraits, when they lose, right? They're like, oh no, they got hit. They have like a hit animation. It's really cool. Like, this is there's very clearly a lot of time and effort that's been put into this, the entire kind of package, right?
Undoubtedly, yeah.
Also, I have to say, so one of the things that has to be remarked about this game is that it can be quite creative with some of the specials. One of the most unique. So this game has one of the most unique specials I have ever seen in a fighting game, and it's Yuraku's. I don't know if what you are showing at the moment, but Yuraku's. How is it called? Mohast.
Like I don't know, like a privacy mirror. I don't know, like
Oh yeah, here
The
I will.
the
I will
foldable
return
wall.
to
Yeah,
it.
yeah, the foldable wall.
yeah.
Folding screen, maybe.
Folding screen. Thanks.
Yeah.
This is actually something incredibly nasty because it can be hit, so it can be moved by working towards it. It can be hit and destroyed, but it shoots projectiles regularly with a specific timing, and the projectiles must be blocked in the direction they are coming. So if Yuraku is on your left and the projectile is on your right, good luck blocking in the right
Sandwich,
direction.
yeah.
So you'll see this is from a match between me and Super HC where they're playing Yuraku, I'm playing Kyuki, and that's it. They're trying to get this screen out and get on the other side of me. And then yeah, you have to switch block between blocking versus the actual opponent and blocking between the direction that the projectile is coming from.
And I don't think the devs are like afraid of doing stuff like that, right?
No.
They have burst, they have all this other stuff to prevent the grimy stuff from being really, really dumb. And I think they're using that as an opportunity to express some more interesting design space there.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Maybe we should go back to the characters because I made this off topic. Sorry, we are going through Izamu, and then we just jumped around. Sorry,
Yes,
I'm not going to remember any of their names, by the way. I'm like so not on the name.
Izamu is Sword Twink.
Yeah, we got Cloud.
Yeah, we got Cloud.
We got Cloud, Bird Girl. We got Wino. We got Big Guy. That's all I got.
Okay. Yuki is Bird Girl, is the other rushdown
There we
character
go, yeah.
with very oppressive rushdown, very good air mobility, and even some good air specials. But as the life of the health amount of a paper towel, so she gets a lot of damage compared to other characters.
I know I mentioned it earlier, but there's also restands in the game, and it's off any button. So as long as you hit your opponent right as they're hitting the ground, you can restand them.
Yeah.
Creating some interesting, privacy screen, exactly. Creating some interesting combos.
Yeah, there are definitely some interesting combo routing available. And like I said, I think by nature of how the special cancel system works, and then the restands in particular, you get some really funky routing, which just feels good. Like, there is something about it. Once you really get into the systems here, the combo feel, the game feel of it, is excellent.
Warthog makes a good point in chat, too. She also has an ability to heal herself. So on top of the fireball spewing privacy screen, she can also heal.
Yeah, but it's a little bit more risky because she has to read the opponent's attack.
That's a parry.
So
Yeah.
So the active frames are very, they are a lot, but it still needs to connect to recover life and costs 1 meter, but it's still an interesting gimmick.
And yeah, I would say of all the characters, Isamu the swordsman is probably the most kind of Ryu archetype all-arounder intro character, I would say, because the other characters are kind of much like the thank you for the follow there, Crimson. Much like the moveset in the combo system, it's a little bit atypical from a lot of fighting games. And you have your, right, who are we going into here, I believe? Oh, we got, Kyuki, right? Kyuki's your rushdown character, and she has this feather move where you can do 6p in the air, and she'll attack you with the feather and pop off of it. But
Seems
it's
so bad.
Right? But that's it. It doesn't work like your anime mix-up tool that you think it would.
Yeah, it's really making me think on how to use these tools.
Right?
I think you can link into your splits if like down kick after it
really?
gets the feather.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm not completely sure. I'm not completely sure because I'm not. But you could test that one.
I believe you can at least go from the flash kick into the splits drop and then into the feather.
Okay.
And use it as an ender. That's what I have been tending to do.
Feather to split kick.
Feather to split kick though. Okay, there you go.
And then just trip kick him to death.
And then trip kick him to death, right? Because yeah, she has this powerful trip kick, which will
it's like super weak. it does like no damage.
Well. It does no damage, but it links right?
Forever.
It's such a great combo tool that once you get a hit, you can get into it.
Yeah. It's a pretty. I miss it's pretty funny to see that Q kick can infinite you to death, but with hitting with the spoon for 2 ERs, and then Kenta just hits you with 2 uppercuts and does the exact same damage.
Yeah.
And Kenta's a keep away character too, so he shits out damage and can just keep you away.
Absolutely, right?
Kenta's so strange.
We have like the all-arounder and then the rushdown character here. You can see me trying to use the feather to like get in and do little mix-ups and stuff. But there's more recovery on it than you might expect. So it doesn't necessarily function the way you'd immediately think. But this is it, right? It's like we as players need to kind of reassess and be like, how are these tools useful within this system, right?
Yep.
So, okay, then moving on. We also have Kenta, who, as you just said, is the brawler.
Yep.
It's such an interesting character because he has it's as slow as a brick. Let's start with this statement. Kenta is as slow as a brick. Even when dashing around, you feel you are controlling a walking mountain. Then he hits you once and he sends you to ER directly. So he deals so much damage, and he has and it's interesting because he has very good keep away tools.
Mm-hmm.
His charge move is this big rock that basically prevents you from jumping.
There you go.
The ground spike covers the hitbox of the ground spike is so huge, and if he starts hitting you, you are basically toast.
Yeah.
And his biggest weakness, fortunately, is that if someone is directly in his face, he cannot do a lot. So it's a strange design because he can really dish out a lot of damage if he gets up close and starts his game. But the moment he is the one cornered, he doesn't have almost any good options to get out of pressure.
Yeah, and that is going to be a common theme in this game, where pressure is oppressive, right? Which I think, like I said, the devs have created a couple systems with the Just Defend or the Snap Block, as you see there, which gives you, I believe it like halves the block stun you're in,
Yes.
which is essential because you are so positive on so many things. But like there are a lot of hitboxes and there are a lot of moves which come out extremely fast, are really generous, and can just it can lead to some frustrating scenarios at times. And so it's like my question now becomes is like how effective are these systems to counter some of this oppressiveness? And I think we're going to need more time to truly figure that out. But you'll see from Kyuki, right? She has some devastating pressure, and then Kenta has some amazing keep away with just like an inability to get in over some of his moves.
I just have one comment about it.
Mm-hmm.
So the fact that Snap Block halves the hit, the block stun, makes something most likely punishable or less safe. But this is so my only gripe or like doubt with the system is that having a block stun be higher than hit stun, and not only if you get the block right, is probably something that at a higher level is very interesting because puts a lot of, like I can say, it's a game that becomes rewarding when you are predicting your opponent, so at a higher level. But on an entry level for players that are not as skilled, such as myself, it's a little bit of a weird feeling. Like you feel like you are punished for blocking.
Mm-hmm.
And that you can actually punish stuff only if you master blocking first. Which is not usually what casual players like to do. Like, I think that 90% of my casual friends would be okay if people couldn't even block attacks in fighting games or don't know exactly that you can block.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying it's a negative, but it's something that one has to consider.
Yeah. Mohast, what are your thoughts on that and how it kind of like impacts players' decisions and how they feel when they're getting hit by this stuff, especially at like for new players?
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting thought. It's been so long since I was a new player, right?
Fair.
But I think there are elements to its design that are obviously very beneficial to new player stuff. Like forward as an input is a great way to get new players just doing stuff. But yeah, I think new players especially are gonna clash with some of the more basic elements, like how normals work. But then again, they're also going to just have a good time throwing out specials and making things combo together. So I think it's a double-edged sword. I think you're going to have issues where if you're bucking a trend, you kind of need to supplement that by having other things that are more familiar. You know what I mean? To say, hey, well, here's what you're used to, but here's the weird thing that we're really breaking the mold with. And I think balancing that is going to be key to getting newer and more established players into the game.
All right, and yeah, no, that makes a lot of sense, and I like that. I think you said something right. It's like people are going to have a lot of fun just like throwing out specials, and I think that's something that, thinking back to being a new player, I mean, that was the defining traits, right? It's like Guile doing Sonic Boom was the thing that made me go like, whoa, Guile's cool, right? Like Nash's Crescent Kick is the thing that made me say Nash was cool. So doing those moves is a core kind of like desire and a core like happy moment. So
Absolutely.
So I really appreciate that being kind of the focal point. But like, yeah, then to your point, you do still need that comfort in actually pushing the buttons. For me as a more experienced player, I get that when I get into the combo system. But yeah, it makes it I wonder what a new player would say coming into it and saying, you mean I can't just do this? Because so many modern games go towards you want to do the thing, you get to do ABC special, and it just does it, right?
Yeah. So many new players go, why doesn't this have Gatlings? And it's like, well, I know where you started playing fighting games.
Yep.
You know, but...
Wait, honestly, this could be. Remember, this could be as back as 1992 because Tekken strings count as Gatling on a Wii too.
That's true.
That's true. Yeah, I mean target combos true, but like, you know, I think that's going to be the big barrier for new players is really going, well, what do these buttons do for me outside of neutral? But I mean, they might not even. Yeah, maybe I'm giving them too much credit. Maybe they don't even give a shit.
They don't even give a shit about that.
I think that's the first impact. It's a big button, does big damage, brain happy. Honestly, at least this is for me. And that's...
Yeah, I don't know if you're going to get issues with folks complaining about no crouching from really, really fresh-eyed new players. I think that's going to be more of an established player thing. Going, well, why can't they crouch? Why? Yeah, it's like they can't get their head outside of this box. You know what I mean? But otherwise,
which is funny to me because I'm just like, you should be good enough that you don't need to down back to maintain your position.
Yeah.
Sorry, man. Like that's
you're removing one 50-50 and just making all the other 50-50s more interesting. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, that's it. It's all good, man. Don't worry. You're not going to be hurt.
Speaking of which, the only real mix-up in this game is strike grab technically.
But there's no crouching in Smash, is there? I mean, there's crouching, but like it doesn't matter.
Crouching, but I don't.
But it doesn't matter, right? You don't like crouch block. You just block.
Yes,
and you can move your shield. You can move your shield, but like, so even the most casual of game, you kind of just block. And there's other ways to defend, but yeah.
Well, I just wanted to say here in the chat, one of the developers, Cadgard, saying, like they were saying earlier, having two characters where all their moves are punches and kicks that are easy to master before messing with any of the characters that have a combo of all of those things and using charges and etc. is really important. And so they usually recommend, I believe it was
Samu and whoever else.
As their base characters, because that's kind of where all their movesets lie. So players are really they push the buttons and the move comes out and they're like, ooh, yay, happy. And that's really...
Yeah, I think Kyuki and Isamu feel really
Isamu and Kyuki,
good. The fact that Kyuki can basically cancel all of her 5 special in the same combo. You can make a combo out of her 5 special in like cartwheel into snap kick, into flash kick, into feather, into splits, and the probably combo. Everything just feels good.
It really does.
And you can also put the super in the middle. It's
Yeah, there's a lot you can do there, and that is one of the characters that she reminds me of Jeddah from Eternal Champions, which makes me super happy because that character is wild. She has a similar moveset and kind of like operates in similar ways, and so I think for anyone who's played a lot of those Wild West fighting games from the early to late 90s, I think you're gonna find a lot of interesting parallels between those games and Konsui Fighter, and you might find something really cool to latch onto. Do you want to take a look, Andrea? You wanted to take a look at. There's one more character that is not available to play, but they are available to play against in story mode.
Oh yeah, Shinro. That actually that guy was so cool that I hoped it was playable, because the first thing I tried again, I'm the casual player of the bunch here today. And one of the first thing I went to the tutorial, and the first thing I did after the tutorial was going to story mode to see actually what was the premise. Because, I'm a little bit allergic today to the, evil organization makes tournament, blah, blah. So I wanted to see where they were going. And actually the story premise is actually pretty interesting because it's not a tournament. It's a guy going into a coma, and every character is a part of his personality during his coma. It's a different premise from what I've seen until now, and I'm pretty happy that I didn't went from the evil guy makes evil tournament. Yeah. Because I'm fed up. I'm completely fed up with this.
We don't need that anymore.
I'm fed up. And then at the second fight, you fight this shadow guy called the Shinro, that immediately out the offset has a sector teleport uppercut as a special. From Mortal Kombat. This uppercut when a sector goes down and then comes up where you are? Yes, that one. And he has it's a very positive on block dashing attack that he can cancel into both the sector teleport and into a tiger knee, and also it's a spike move. Every one of his moves just oozes style and look extremely cool. Yes. I wish I could have played him. And yeah, he really steamrolled me the first 2 times I fought against him in story mode, because he's so safe. Like, he hits with this giant dashing attack, then you think, I can punish him. No, he cancels into his teleport at low profiles, and so your kick misses and you just uppercuts you from the ground. Yeah. And if you instead block, you have to suffer a positive block tiger knee. So it's pretty hard to deal with him. In the end, the trick I found was that he's very vulnerable during the dash, so you can stuff him with a jab or a kick. But aside from that, he was pretty hard to fight and made me hope I could play at him in the demo, which unfortunately was not the case. And yeah, also the design is very cool. This was my wow moment when I saw this shadow guy with a crystal as a body. I was like, okay, I want to play as them. As soon as the game drops, I want to play as them.
Well, and they are a character that actually, I think, of all the characters, really embraces the general art style. Where it's like, you'll see, if you go through the story mode, there's these cutscenes, lovely drawn cutscenes, that have this kind of like watercolor style. You'll see the splatter style in the background here, right? And yeah, this character Shinru really, like, it is that kind of, because it's a story about like internal conflict and like lost memories and trying to regain what was lost, kind of all that kind of stuff. So the embracing that style and embracing the messiness of that memory, right, and trying to find it again, I think is really interesting. So you're not just getting these I don't know, like sword and sorcery style right, character designs all the time. We're not just a bunch of sword fighters like Smash. It's really embracing something a little different. What are your...
Yeah.
I'm curious what you think about the character designs, where you have Kyuki and Isamu here. I think Kyuki and her bird is another one that does a really good job of embracing this stylization.
Yeah, I mean, I think they do a great job of keeping things interesting and different, but like aesthetically cohesive. right? Like you're seeing a lot of really interesting homages to different characters, different genres, different cultures. But with the art style, it all kind of fits together. It's not like glaring where one of the characters is an obvious anime protagonist, and the other one is some kind of like LA noir detective or whatever, Gumshoe. But Eternal Champions kind of has that one covered. This I think so far every character besides Isamu really piques my interest, and Isamu is kind of the other side of things where he's so just like bland and uninteresting that I would play him anyway, just to be like, I beat you with the bland guy, So, and that's what this effect. But yeah, he's like the Ryu. That's just how he is.
I mean, and these characters are like aspects of the story protagonist's personality, right? So having the whatever shonen protag kind of thing makes a lot of sense as representing these elements of his personality.
Absolutely. And I completely agree with Mohast that so the character that visually struck me the most is definitely Kyuki. Her design is the one that I like the most. Yuraku is also something that really strikes. Kenta gave me some native Indian vibes, even if the name is Japanese. But not completely, but definitely gave me sort of native vibes.
Yeah.
And Isamu, I'm not too hot on him. Like it's the grand of the game. So
that's a good way to put it.
Like in Glamblum versus, you have Gran and then you have all the other cool dudes. So why would you
play characters
Gran?
that play just like Gran too? Like there are two other characters that play just like Gran.
Yeah, but it's not to say that Isamu is a bad design. Understand me? It's just like for my personal taste, is too plain. But it's not a bad design by any means, because it's not super plain, it's not completely forgettable, or it's not just so it's not bad. It's not as cool as the others.
It's just outshone by other things more so than anything.
Like the shoulder pads and the bracers, right? Like that's kind of cool. It's like the no drip style of like a lot of anime games, and then a little bit of fantasy, fantasy armor as well.
Yeah. So do you guys want to run some matches? Is that something that we want to do as part of this?
Yeah, definitely. Just before we do that, is there any? I wanted to get some thoughts just on like how you think the system is coming together currently. Like what is your take on some of the more esoteric elements of how the game is coming together, and like do you think they should? Where do you think they should go with that kind of thing?
Andrea, do you want to take it off first?
Yeah. It's a little bit hard to say because the game is still it's still relatively, we can say, it's still relatively not early in development, but it's still a little bit untested. And while I very much like how specials work, how the combo system works, as a more casual player, I find this blocking and how the proximity block works a little bit jarring. It's the only thing that... so I think that mechanically it can be extremely interesting. The fact that if the burst game remains like this, it's also not going to be a one-touch game by any means, which is a positive for me. And I can see the thing working. So even if normals cannot combo into specials and are just used for neutral, I don't see a problem with that. Like all their Mortal Kombat did it and was fine.
Yeah.
And you use them because you gain space because they do good damage or because they are just faster than specials. There are several reasons to use them at the moment, so this is not a problem. So the only thing that I really find that needs an adjustment is a little bit the pressure and how the defense works.
Absolutely.
Because at some point it's almost better to be hit and burst than to remain blocking.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, the kind of inversion with how block and hit stun works is definitely changes things. I did see in chat Shane, one of the developers, saying that they're going to be looking at that, and excuse me, taking a look to change how block stun and hit stun work, and maybe changing a little bit of how the snap guard, the snap block works as well. So I think we can anticipate some experimentation on that front going forward, which I'm actually pretty excited about.
Yeah, no doubt. And I mean, from my perspective, I think the game I agree with Andrea, right? Like, I don't think they need to back off from any of their more radical design choices. But, there's some quality of life things that I would tweak, but this isn't my story, right? I want to see what they're going to do. And I like where it's going so far. I think, obviously, even with Burst, having one loop infinites just isn't all that fun.
Yeah.
So they might want to adjust that. But with those kind of things out of the way, I just want more, right? There are slight things, but there really isn't any game breakers or deal breakers here, right?
Yeah.
So I'm just looking forward to it, seeing what else comes down the pipeline.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think I've clicked with the combo system. Now I really need to click with the character. Shinru looks really interesting. I'm down with Kyuki, but I don't think there's really quite an archetype there for me now. But I know that there are other characters in the works, so we can hopefully anticipate. Like, hopefully we'll be able to see a little bit more of that in the near future. I did see one of the devs ask about there is a mobile version available. I did get access to it. I have tried it actually.
Nice.
I maybe I'll take a little bit moment to talk about that, because I find mobile fighting games particularly fascinating. Like, it's an interesting world that a lot of fighting game community doesn't explore enough. Games like Vita Fighters, games like Tough Love Arena, they're
that
doing...
other one.
Oh yeah, there's one from the Beyond developers as well.
Sinag.
Yeah, Sinog, yes. Right, and they all have some similarities, but all explore different facets of fighting games, which I think often get overlooked. And one of the things people dismiss mobile fighting games is that virtual gamepads kind of suck. I think we can all agree that virtual gamepads kind of suck. So you really have to do something specific to be able to overcome that. Tough Love Arena, they just kind of made a very, very solid, responsive, considerate button layout. And that has gone a long way to reducing some of the stuff. They might have done something on the back end to make it a little bit more responsive to inputs. But it feels better than most mobile fighting games. There's a game from a Canadian dev called Hero Versus, and they have a really, really interesting... you tap for normals, you swipe for heavies, and you click on individual buttons for specials, right? And this leads to, like, tap, swipe tap for, like, normal, medium, right? Which is...
Doing my combo, Mom, look.
Right? Yeah. But it actually is very, very responsive.
It's dope.
And so Konsui Fighter, they have a right and left button as well as a punch and kick. But you do have a heavy punch and a heavy kick. So to get those, you actually swipe down into the button to get access to it, right? So you would go like 6-6, you tap 6-6, swipe down for your heavy, or you do 6-6 tap for your normal attack. So it actually works remarkably well. I was worried that with the way the combo structures work, that it was going to be very annoying to kind of manage that. But, like, I ended up, like, tapping at it as a keyboard and doing, like, 4-6, like 4-6P, 4-6 swipe. It was just, it kind of worked. And then if you tap anywhere on screen, you will jump, right? So, it is more of your standard mobile fighting game button layout, but it does feel pretty dang responsive. And I'd say it's one that if you're at all interested in this, it's a great one to have on the go, to just, like, practice some interesting things. Because of the way the buffers work and the special cancel and the special work, you actually have a lot of time to do your inputs. The buffer window is very large on hit, so getting those moves out, not the worst thing in the world. So yeah, I highly recommend it. Though, I mean, I got to admit, I'd rather use this dude than touch controls. Push come to shove.
Yeah, no, agreed. I will say, though, I mean, like, you say that there some of the inputs the input system itself can be rough, right? Like the actual hardware,
Mhm.
but some of the systems that people put into the software really do help alleviate
Absolutely.
a lot of those issues. And I do want to say, like, yeah, there are a lot of other mobile games out there that do a great job. So I appreciate that.
100%.
Appreciate all the work they're doing for people that aren't me.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be playing with one of those.
Yeah. Because, like, when you think of it, games like Flappy Fighter and Santa Fighter from Shin Baxter feel phenomenal to play. Like, the combo feel in that game, the game feel is just spot on. So it's doable. Like, you can do it. If you're a developer and you're making a fighting game, don't be afraid of making a mobile fighting game. But you need to be very considerate about how you do it and make sure that players are getting the experience they expect. All right, let's hop in to some matches here. Is anyone in queue?
Yeah. We are both in queue. The moment is where I'm actually trying to set my firewall to see if it was this that made the game crash.
Beauty.
So not crash, but but I'm not sure. No, sorry, it doesn't seem to want to. So the game doesn't want me to connect as player 1 for some reason, and when I am player 2, the dash doesn't work. So.
Well, if you want me to jump in, then
yeah, by all means,
that-
hop in queue,
do
and
that.
we can
Yeah.
get some matches in. We can show it off. If anyone in chat has any questions, feel free to lay them on us. We're happy to tell you what we think, and there's
some of
developers
the
in
devs
chat
are in
as well.
chat. Yeah.
So I'm sure they'll fill us in.
So, if I'm player 2, I probably won't be able to use the dash, but at least I can play. So let's see if I got. Oh, I got. Yeah,
You guys matched up.
yeah.
There we go.
So, like I said,
Dashless
for some
Kenta?
reason, yeah, like I said, I'm not really able to use the dash for some reason that I don't understand, like an air dash, but not forward dash.
Very strange.
It's very strange.
So I
Oh.
will actually play dashless Kenta, or we'll see if it was only a problem against Mohast.
That's also true.
Yeah.
Let's just a second. Let me check, because you see the air dash works, but no, my
Yeah,
ground dash
right?
doesn't.
And I can't air dash. Oh wait a second. She might not have a. No, she should have a backwards air dash.
Yeah,
think she has
I cannot do it, but I cannot also do back dashes. for
Yeah, I
some
don't think
reason.
anybody gets backwards in the air.
No?
dash.
Okay,
Yeah.
I thought she did. Oh, and then the
I don't
wall
know.
jump.
I cannot
Yeah.
even do back dashes anyway, just for the record.
Oh, hey, we got someone who worked on one of the devs worked on a lot of the networking. Sorry for any bugs. No worries, man. This is playtesting is important. Also,
Yeah.
can we just say, the burb stage is so good. This thing looks at you, it caws, and when it caws, it actually makes a sound in the stage. Guys, I love it.
Yeah, I mean, as you say, like Wings of Honor or whatever it's called, but like good.
Yeah.
Yeah, show me that trip kick.
Trip kick. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Brooklyn trip kick.
And there's your super versus super. Ooh, fun. We.
Yeah. Yeah, we're still going.
You timed out and then killed.
Yeah, come on. How is this fair?
What? I mean, I love it. Who cares? It's great.
There are no timeouts, sir.
No. I'm a bird.
No timeouts in the house. Yeah, this is now the point where I can't really. I feel like I cannot. I'm pressured and I cannot really do a lot.
Yeah, especially without dashing.
Oh.
Got the normals.
Oh, damn. All right.
Yeah, the ES ground slam is pretty good. Oh, nice combo. Love to see it.
Right. Was that off counter hit?
I have no idea.
I think it
probably.
must have been.
Yeah. I will
Oh,
say,
the rock.
I kind of wish this game had target combos just to alleviate some of that awkwardness.
Yes.
Right? Because that's what Mortal Kombat does, right? The early Mortal Kombats, or minus 1 and 2,
Mm-hmm.
you know, they had these target combos that you could perform, and it kind of helped make your normals make more sense, right?
Yeah.
To folks who were trying to do more than just poke.
See, only thing about Kenta is that every attack it's like a matter tracker.
Exactly. It's pretty great. I wonder if you can cancel your flip kick up into the downward thing because all specials cancel.
Yeah, you can cancel it in the splits.
Okay, that's funny.
Whoop.
It hits going up, and it doesn't really hit going down unless it didn't hit going up. There you go. That's how I want to say it. There you go. The bird specials.
No.
The void specials.
Yeah, okay, so that traded on KO.
Yeah.
There you go.
KO screen to kind of delay,
Yeah. Okay, so just a question: is that if the developer is in chat, do they have any idea of what might be the issue with the dash input not coming out on ground? Because I thought about it a lot, but I cannot really find a development reason why it should work in the air but not in the ground, and only for player 2.
Yeah, it's so weird.
Well, I mean, they did just make some changes to the input system to accommodate for the new jump, so I wonder if there might have been an unintended consequence.
Last minute borks.
Yeah.
Always an opportunity.
Yeah, it shouldn't do that. Famously. Oh man.
Yeah, famous last words, but it's fine and not complaining. I've created worse bugs in my time. So.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, it's like whenever I do a speed run, I'm like, well, never seen that before.
This is the first time I've ever had to actually beat the boss.
Oh god.
I don't know how to do it. What the hell?
Do you actually play this game? No, not really.
Not really, no. We don't do that here.
So at the moment, are you two playing? Or
yeah.
We're playing, yeah.
So, what are... I have not played Yuraku yet, so what is her moveset?
Oh,
So-
sorry, do you want me to hold off, or...?
Quarter circle back with meter is the wind. With quarter circle back kick is the wind shield.
You need a meter to do it.
Forward punch is their bow attack that is safe. And quarter circle back plus punch is her twirling stuff that is a good anti-air and can combo forever.
Alright.
And
She has a quarter circle forward punch, but I can't get it to come out, so I always do an uppercut.
and there is a charge move, charge back forward punch that has a screen control stuffy thingy that is a little bit harder to use.
Oh, yes. Okay.
He also has a
It's the-
forward back parry.
Yeah, for
Oh.
1 meter.
Is it a meter for that as well? I
Yeah,
know the steam
one-
costs a meter too. So.
Forward back punch is their whimper. Please don't hit me, but if you hit her, you will her. But it costs 1 meter.
Oh, I love the stage music already.
I know, right? Oh, got the juggle. Where's my... Oh. Let me just double check her.
Wait, what happened here?
Oh, I paused.
Oh, pause.
Because I wanted to check my
And it counts down. That's cute.
my moves. Yeah, it gives you the countdown as it comes back from pause in online matches.
It
That's a
reminds me
nice
of Dota.
little UX feature.
But wait a second. So you can pause in online matches? That
Yeah, so like I'm just looking at my move list right now.
And I can look at the move list separately. That's cool.
Yeah, and you can look at it separately.
Yeah, she doesn't have a quarter circle forward attack.
Yeah, so it must be an uppercut with the punch.
She
Whatever
has
that thing
it's,
where
it's
she,
a
like,
dash,
does the
but
forward
I
thing.
can't use it because no dash.
Ah, so
You can't dash either in
I
second
can't
player?
dash either.
Yeah, then it's a second player bug. It's not only my computer.
Good. Get out of here. Get destroyed. So we gotta... The tournament in this build has to include...
Oh no. Oh
coins,
no.
right?
Oh no.
Burst!
Oh,
Mike,
no.
burst. It's L1. Burst!
No, he doesn't
Garvey,
burst.
you
Come on.
had burst.
Yes! Yes!
You died with X Factor.
This meme! This exact
Oh
meme!
god. Sorry, I was just appreciating it.
Yeah, so that's the game. I think.
So let's see if I can get another match. But if I'm player 1, I have to come out because it will not work. But
Oh,
if
yeah.
I'm player 2, I can still play, even if I can play dashless Kenta.
Oh,
Ah, no,
that's so
moment.
funny.
Yeah.
All right, so
So
let's see
wait,
if I can dash.
Yeah, we'll see if you can dash.
Because I've never been player 2 before.
Yeah, because my connection somehow crashed every time I was player 1. German Internet. Es ist immer ein Problem von deutsche Internet. Deutsches. Can you dash?
So yeah, you can.
Nope, can't
Nope.
ground dash.
Can't ground dash.
Yeah.
I
No,
couldn't
at
forward.
least-
I couldn't air dash either though.
And I can't.
No,
Yeah,
you-
I can't do my forward button
No,
either.
Yeah.
you
so, yeah.
can. You could actually air dash on the forward jump. I noticed
Yeah.
that.
Oh, it was only off. Okay, because I couldn't
Yeah.
do it out of neutral jump. All right.
All right. Well, this character's awful if I can't do
It-
my
it-
dash thing.
Right?
Yeah,
That's problematic.
Yes. This is. But hey, guys, let's put it from a positive point of view. We have actually found the what triggers the bug, so that developers
Sure.
have a easier time fixing it.
Yeah.
Also, the windshield there is a. It's a sort of a rollback. It's a rollback trap.
Go back
Because
destroyer.
during
Yeah.
our match with Mohast, the shield there caused so many rollbacks alone
Oh, yeah.
that it was funny.
Haven't been able to test international yet. Well, hey, yeah, Germany to East Coast North America. So,
We're
Oh, but I
technically
have to say that-
international here.
I have to say one thing. I have to say one thing. Despite everything, so despite not being able to dash, the connection felt very smooth.
Yeah,
So
feels good.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, the delay was so. Honestly, from this point of view, if the developers are in chat and listening to me, you made a very good job with the responsiveness. Like
Yeah,
from
absolutely.
Germany to US, it really felt good. So aside from that dash bug, let's say, but the responsivity was incredible. It really
go.
felt like
Get
playing
off.
local. Yeah, the twirl is if. Yeah, I wanted to ask the developers about this. The Kenta's grab, the second part, should it connect or not? Because to me it looks like a small visual glitch. That when the grab connects, it throws
There's some
them and then
rollback.
pulls them the arms. Yeah,
I
one
didn't
thing
catch
that-
any of it. Yeah, if it was for me.
Yeah, one thing that we didn't tell, so characters here have only one grab, but it can be of two kinds of grab.
Mm-hmm.
A throw grab, like Kenta and Kyuki have, that is the traditional, let's say, traditional punch grab in Street Fighter, and then the mesh grab, the ones that like Ken's keeping
Like-
on kneeing the opponent.
Mhm.
And this is a mesh grab, and apparently to get out of the mesh grab you have to mesh, while to get out of the throwing grab you have to actually use the same input as the grab.
Mhm.
Okay, let's see if it works, but I'm not sure since I'm player 1, and most likely the connection will crash. But hey, let's try.
Okay.
Let's go. Arid Plains. This is another really nice stage.
Yep,
Yeah, I mean the artwork's gorgeous.
Yeah.
yep. If it doesn't work, you should go first, and I should join.
Okay.
Yeah, it doesn't work for some
Yeah.
reason.
Disconnected.
These
Aw.
Can you go first in the
Sure.
match queue, and I will join so that I am player 2?
Absolutely. Got Crimson Guitarist in chat saying they think it's fascinating for Yuraku not to be able to do crouch charge for her water drop. It makes a usual strategy for charge characters not work. So it makes
It
sense
is
for her
very
to have
awkward.
her wall to allow her to charge.
Yeah, it is very awkward to have to hold back.
Yeah.
Wait a second. I'm against player
Oh.
1. Sorry, this means that it will not want to work. It's weird because I don't know what's causing this. I checked and the app is going through my firewall, but wherever I'm the host for player 1, everything just
It just
goes
crashes
boom.
on connect, right? But
Yeah.
it connects enough to let us get to character select.
Yeah.
So whatever the handshake when it gets into the match, it's like not working.
Yes, it's just not working for some
Yeah.
reason, and I can't. Yeah, like
There
now
we
I'm
go.
player 2. Okay.
Yeah.
And I
All
can play dashless Kenta
Dashless
again.
Kenta, and I can try dashful.
This reminds me. Do you know there is this in Okuto no Ken? Mr. Hart actually has different tier placement for player 1 or player 2 side.
Oh man, it's real. P1, P2 advantage. It happens.
Yeah.
Karnov.
Yes, but like remember also in Mortal Kombat 9 you have something like that, like player
Yep.
1 has priority on trades.
Hmm.
In Karnov's player 1, I believe, player 1 gets something, but player 2 recovers 1 frame quicker from everything, which is fun. I don't remember what player 1 gets. They get some other benefit, but obviously recovering 1 frame quicker is like really good.
Yeah. Right, it's the other one.
So if you're Yuraku first player, then you can do forward punch into the spin and just do that infinite. That's my favorite.
Right,
part.
that into quarter circle
Yeah.
back punch.
Yep, exactly. And then tap it until the 3rd hit, let go, then just do the opposite input.
Oh.
Some
Wait,
rollback.
you are still alive. We had rollback moment.
Yeah.
This is what happened with Mohast last
Yeah.
time.
Yeah, you KO with a trade and you get this little extended period.
I was like,
Yeah.
is my privacy screen gonna take you out?
It can happen.
Yet. Oh man. Yeah, proximity guard is really big too. There's a super wide range for proxy guard, so.
Mm-hmm. I think if the no dashing thing is going to stay for 2-player, we should definitely give player 1 some kind of negative thing. Like,
Yeah.
No blocking.
no jumping. Yeah, you can't jump. Get out of here. Yeah, there you go. Loop it. Loop it. That's what I'm saying though. Like burst is a good idea, but it's not the failsafe that everybody thinks it is.
No.
It's just not for new players at all.
And so how do you shoot out of the
It just does it
private screen?
automatically.
It's just automatically?
Automatically,
Yeah.
I think it's distance based. Like,
Okay.
Yeah, it might not shoot when it's off screen too. Is another thing I found.
Yeah. Oh damn.
Yeah,
So,
Kenta
yeah,
just hoops that
It's
damage.
it's pretty bulky, I used to say.
Yeah, okay, it is auto. Okay. I thought it might have been like connected to an input or something like that.
No, it looks like it. As long as the opponent is not too far, it shots. Mohast, are you going to play?
Oh, I didn't know if you guys were just gonna run matches or not.
I mean,
I'm watching.
yeah, I'm just like I said, I'm just.
I can
hopping in.
do. Yeah, I can
and
do one
then-
more.
Otherwise, I
think-
can go in.
I
Wait,
think
just-
given that one player can't dash,
Yeah.
I'm probably not gonna be playing too much more. But yeah, let's do one more.
But yeah, no. So as we're running out a couple more matches, friends, I guess I think it's important to talk about where does this game go from here. Based on what your impressions have been playing it over the past couple weeks, based on the kind of systems Circean Games has put into place, where do you see it going? Where do you hope it goes? And like, what has you most excited for the future? Andrea, we'll start with you.
Honestly, I would be fine. Honestly, I would be fine if the game didn't actually change too much from what it's now. As long as they fix these small things about the too big of the pressure that it's pretty unbearable, I would be happy if the game stuck to its guns and had the boldness to keep on this design space. So I don't care if normals don't combo into specials, as long as the game feels cool to play, and every character feels like it can do something against their opponent.
All right.
What I'm most excited is basically Shinro. I want to play Shinro, so I'm honestly waiting for him to drop. And you, Mohast? What's your...
Yeah, so from my perspective, I think the game with a couple of quality of life features could really be a full package, you know? Even just 4 characters, right? I don't think it needs to be much more to get a nice vertical slice of what's going on.
Yeah.
That being said, you know, there are some small things that I would change, right? Like, even just like one chainable normal sequence or one linkable normal sequence, just to give players something to work off of. If that's really not, if that's like antithetical to the design philosophy, then that's fine. But you know, something that would bridge that gap between normals and specials would be good. But you know, I think the game has a lot of room to grow. I think the unique art style is going to carry it in a lot of ways, and I think, you know, I'm excited to see new characters, but honestly, I'm more excited to just see these characters fleshed out, and I want to see what the developers are doing, right? I want to see what they're intending us to do, because you can get into a fighting game and be like, okay, well, this is what you're supposed to do. But when these games get so unique, it's kind of hard for me to be like, okay, well, this is absolutely what needs to be the case, you know?
Yeah.
Man, I was looking at the match now, and Kyuki really has the health of a paper towel.
She
I think
does.
Kenta just
The glass
does damage,
cannon.
yeah.
Or Kenta, but also Kenta kind of produces damage by just existing. So, and you, Mike, you have played it a little bit too. So, what's your opinion? What are you looking forward to?
Yeah, for me, I am very taken with, I think I've said it already, the art style, but like you said, the unique design space that this game kind of resides in. I've been very pleased with the way, like with the kind of atypical way that things work together, and I'm enjoying exploring the system, and it feels really good when it clicks. So I'm with Mohast in that way, where I'm like, yeah, give me, you know, those quality of life features, give me, like, work out on those bug fixes, and maybe a little bit, like you said, something. Give me, like, one target combo. I feel that would actually line up with the kind of Wild West ethos that this game is embracing, where a lot of those old games, you know, you had dial-a combos. Eternal Champions had a really strange cancel system, where it was like, look, you can do specifically these ones. And it's like, that is the unique routing, right? To kind of show off the character's different tool sets. So having something like that, I think, would help ease in new players and be a boon for, you know, combo scientists and stuff like that. So that's what I'm hoping for. And then, yeah, going forward, I want to see where this design idea goes. There are a lot of other character archetypes that you can kind of play with, and I'm excited to see how those react to the combo system, the special into special nature of the combo system. So I'm a geek when it comes to that stuff, so I'm definitely excited for it.
One thing, I know, yeah, we cannot showcase it because at the moment Mohast is player 2 or 1 at the moment.
Player 2, yeah.
Okay, because I thought it would have been funny to showcase the fact that you can block Kyuki's grab.
Yeah, I can't dash to do it.
Yeah.
Oh, you should be able to do it to me, though.
Yeah, I can do it to you. But you
So
just need to
you can
mash,
just
mash grab or mash dash.
Mash dash?
Mash dash after I'm grabbing you, yeah.
All
or even
right.
just mash dash at me. Just like run at me. See?
Oh, yeah.
You just mash dash right at me. Yeah. You just dash away.
Does
And
it
you don't
not
take
do
any damage. Nope.
Yeah.
Oh,
exactly.
wow.
You completely avoid it.
And wait, try to block afterwards. Try to like dash block. Can you dash block afterwards?
Yeah, for a second we saw the
we saw
proximity block.
grab.
Yeah.
See?
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, that's just like... So there you go. That's that. That's just...
Yes, it was just because we saw this and we wanted to report this, but it's nice that we actually got it on screen.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, one thing that, so honestly, I also like very much the art style. One thing that I'm pretty excited about is story mode, actually. I want to really see where they are pushing the narrative. I'm one of those lore buffs or flavor over numbers kind of
What's
player
that?
for which a story mode is actually pretty important. So I'm really excited to see where they are going to go, especially without the evil guy making evil tournament.
Yes.
Plot.
Yes. Well, I mean, actually, just, yeah, to show this off, like, you pointed out at the beginning of this stream, Andrea, that you were kind of surprised with, like, how well put together this is. As you can see, they've obviously worked on their UI over time. Yeah, we have our training mode, and you can see, like, this is very much looks like a mobile game menu, right? Like, you see that connection there. But there is arcade mode, story mode. They seem to be building out more than just here's an arcade, right? Random match. There's obviously a lot of time and thought being put into the story here. And so yeah, for those who want more than just the nuts and bolts of the combat systems, there's a lot to explore there. I think it is a really unique story that they're trying to approach, and keen to see where it goes from here.
Yeah, I mean, I'd love like a visual novel kind of story mode. I think that'd be great. And I know I don't want this to be like a backhanded compliment, because I don't mean this as an insult to any other dev, but this isn't like just an OC fighter, right? This isn't just, here are these 5 characters I drew in a notebook that I think are cool and I made a fighting game, right? This is like, they seem to have some meaningful, like, this character represents this in the story, and this character represents this in the story, you know, like that part of their psyche, and they're coming at it from an interesting perspective, right? I'd call that like top down as opposed to bottoms up, right? If you if you think, oh, like a guy with a grab would be cool, let's make that'd be like bottoms up. But let's make a representation of this person's trauma. That's like how do you know what I mean? How do you bridge that gap? And that's
what kind of character does that produce?
Yeah, I'm really interested to see.
In my defense, Mohast, I actually proceed bottom up, but always trying to make characters that fit a general story. So even if you have a buff lobster with a American leotard, it makes sense in the story. I know that it's weird, it does.
Yeah, and I'm not poking fun at you or anything, but there's some indie games that you see, you know, especially prototypes and stuff, where you can see, okay, well, the cohesion between the characters is that, you know, this like an auteur thing. You created them; they are your characters. Whereas I feel like these characters, they almost don't have enough depth to them at this point to be considered that. And I'm kind of happy at that regard, because it's like I don't have to go read a Bible to figure out what's going on. But also, like, yeah, I like it. It seems good.
I mean, actually, and the way that the story progresses, and once again, y'all can go check out the demo. There's the first couple acts of the story in there. The way that it progresses is that the protagonist doesn't know this themselves, right? There's this, like, memory gap, right? Yeah. So the fact that you go into it also not knowing this, and you're like, oh, okay, let's figure this out together, it works from a player perspective as well. It kind of seats you in that position. Which,
This was pretty interesting. You're right from the story perspective that the protagonist is this professor that goes into a coma, but then the characters don't know that they are representation of his minds. Like Izamu at the beginning is in this fantasy realm, so is his castle, and then a black hole starts appearing, a portal starts appearing, sucking in everything, and he's as bad-led as we are. Yeah. So he doesn't know he is a part of this professor's mind. No character knows it until now, which I'm pretty curious to see how it will develop too. You're right, this is a pretty interesting premise.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, I'm stoked to see. Thank you, CardGuard, for dropping the link to Konsui Fighter in the chat there. I appreciate that. They got some of the folks from the dev team here saying that a lot of the story mode is done right now, but they're still doing a bit of polishing and finishing the last fight up. So there's a lot kind of right on the bridge of it. I mean, I actually would like to get both of your thoughts on this. 14 years working on a fighting game. That is a long time, right? Mm-hmm. Like, Merfight was in development for, in some way, shape, or form, for
5 years.
5 years, right? So
yeah,
you've seen a lot of projects. Like the Blackheart is a game that got a major update, 10, 15 years after its initial release. What is, I don't know, for you guys, what is the most important kind of benchmark you need to hit with one of these passion projects? Because I would say Konsui Fighter is very clearly a passion project. So what do you need to see out of that kind of thing before you can say, yes, we're putting this out into the world, right?
So the question is, like, what's an MVP? What's a minimum viable product?
Well, not even minimum viable product. Well, because, like, these folks don't seem to be going for minimum viable product, but, like, I mean, when is the turning point for you when your passion project turns into, like, oh, this is a thing that people are going to get in their hands, right?
Good question.
Yeah, it's a very good question, especially because So even if I have a couple commercial games under my belt now, they all started like passion projects,
Yep.
and I'm not that experienced with starting with a commercial project top down. Usually I do something, and when it looks cool enough, I think that it could be also good to make an extended version that can be actually sold. But so it's a little bit hard for me. Like, I've worked on my own fighter for around 3 years before reaching the 1.0 version, and I'm still updating it, and it's still free. So I'm not the most sane person on this earth that you can ask for it.
But Andrea, you did release a paid DLC, the Swords of Blitz Stories, correct?
Yep. Yeah, I did that. Yeah, the stories plus 8 costumes plus 1 stage. But yeah.
So for me, I mean, looking at your work, that was always kind of a point in your kind of oeuvre where I'm like, oh no, it's not just they're doing it for themselves. It's not just a passion project. That is, for me, that was the turning point for you where you recognized that there was something else there.
Yeah, but that was a little bit different. It's just because, honestly, okay, I'm a story buff, lore buff, and I wanted to tell more stories of these characters. The issue is that obviously I usually pay collaborators of my own hand before, so I don't go for revenue sharing. When I get someone to work for me, I pay them upfront. So, and obviously getting illustrations for all the stories was not cheap, because good artists need to be paid, and also I also paid a good editor to fix my English, because English is not my first language. And even if when I write English, I still have a good mastery of it, I still make mistakes that another speaker wouldn't. And so quite a bit of money went to it. I didn't want to get on par with it, but I just honestly I put a price tag on it because I wanted also, because of all the investment that went into it, I would also be fine if only 1/5 came back. But just I thought I couldn't really do that completely for free. That point.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, and that's kind of, I think, what I was trying to, like, in a roundabout way get around to is, like, right? It's like working on these games for 3, 5, 10 plus years. It's a big investment. It takes a lot, either through time or strict money or effort, whatever it might be. So, yeah, that's something that I have gone no signal. That's something. Yeah, that's something that is you have to consider when you're making and releasing these products. So, like Mohast, you've been working on Versus Tag Shuffle for how long now?
About the same time, about 5 years, 5 or 6 years.
About 5 or 6 years, right?
Yeah.
So, what would you guys what would you like to see from Konsui Fighter? Like, coming from a designer and creator perspective, how do you think this game should kind of present itself to the audience? There's a lot of talk of free to play. There's a lot of talk of demos and stuff like that. Should this be a thing where you're like, there's a story, there's an art style, there's a direction. Yeah. Here's $20 for the thing.
Yeah, I would say if it was up to me, I would. I mean, they already have a demo, right? At Murphite's doing something similar, right, where they have a demo with free characters that you can play. I think that's gonna do you pretty good in regards to getting new players in on Steam. So then, I would probably just have a base price for the whole roster and the whole product on Steam, and then for the mobile version, I would expect to see something a little bit more on the lines of, here's the demo, right, a free version, and then you can buy all the rest of the characters, or maybe a more a la carte option for mobile. But I mean, yeah, I don't think I wouldn't want to pay anything less than $20 for a finished game like this, right? And I know people poo-poo and they go, oh, well, indie games, it's all race to the bottom, and it is, right? But it shouldn't be. So.
Yeah, I just wanted to add something. So honestly, I would shelve also at least $20 on the game. So if with a full roster, etc., I would definitely have no issues in paying $20, and I would definitely do this. And the point that plays in its favor is it has online with rollback. Because I made a poll a couple weeks ago on
That's
Twitter,
right,
about what would you pay for a game that has 3 times the amount of content but no online. And there were a lot of people that will say 0 because I cannot buy fighting games without online, or without online how can you call it a fighting game? This is how 2024 landscape looks like. But if you put it at $20 and it has rollback, you are basically winning all these people that are there for the competition alone, and the casual players would buy it or not buy it anyway. So
yeah,
but the demo will do a good chance of getting folks in there, right?
Yeah. Speaking of the demo, it will be interesting to talk with Matt about what is the conversion factor about people downloading the demo and people buying Merfight. Because I remember that the developers of Mega Knockdown removed the demo at some point because it seemed to actually reduce the amount of sales instead of increasing. Because people felt satisfied with the demo and they just didn't check the whole game.
Yeah. I mean, that is a very tough balance to kind of nail for a lot of developers, and I think you've seen it with Grand Blue Fantasy vs. Rising doing their free-to-play model with rotating characters. If you don't really care what character you're playing, that's amazing. That's a free game. Like,
play Gran. Yeah.
You just play Gran all the time. That's my main dude. Never goes away, right? So, yeah, I think there is this kind of issue with you can satiate your player with just the demo. This was a huge phenomenon. If you folks remember in the Xbox 360 PS3 era, the boom of online playable demos for all these games on Xbox Live Arcade was a game changer. It was a sea change in the way people interacted with games. And what you found is that some of these demos were so feature rich that people would play them for 2 months and then say, why am I ever buying this game? And so we definitely risk that because there is such a nature, like there's such a core of try before you buy within the fighting game community, that you have to give them enough to try to know if it's worthwhile, but is that too much, right? So it
really depends on the player too.
Yeah, and it will, absolutely.
If you give me training mode and a character, if it's the character I like, that might actually encompass the totality of my experience in that game. Right?
For me, it's a little bit different. Like, if you're getting me the first taste of story mode and I like it, I will buy the game to see how it ends. So,
whereas, it just goes right over my head. So, it really depends on the players.
We are completely different in a completely different spectrum, and I think this is the beauty of it.
100%.
Just wanted to say from the chat here, some of the developers saying that one thing we're looking at is dropping our characters of the demo to 2.
I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, right? I think so too. Reducing it to 2, people can find out how the game feels, even if it's not your preferred archetype. That's kind of where I at was this demo, which is like, listen, these might not be my characters, but I can get a sense of how my character would play. So that's enough to keep me interested, and I think it's probably enough for most people. And then around that, everything else available in the demo, from a story mode for those who just want story and aesthetic and stuff like that. There's the training mode and arcade mode for those who want the competitiveness and the systems more aspect, right? And then there's online rollback for people who need that to connect and even enjoy the game with another human being. So
this reminds me of something. Like, so honestly, if they would drop to 2 characters, I would think that the best choice would be probably Izamu and Kyuki, because or Izamu and Kenta, because of this difference in grab things. Kyuki, so Izamu and Yuraku have the same type of mesh grab, while Kenta and Kyuki have the other type of grab, and it would be nice to have a character with one type of grab and one with the other, just to show the 2 differences instead of having 2 with the same. And they could go the Soul Calibur 2 demo direction of having the other characters be fightable in arcade mode, but not selectable. So Calibur 2 actually had this demo with Cassandra and Nightmare playable, and then you had a short 4 matches arcade against Voldo and other 3 characters that were not playable in the demo. But
and they've kind of done that, where we have Shinru in the story mode that we have access to. So,
and actually, Shinru in the story mode made me think I have to buy this game because I want to play this freaking character that I only fought in arcade mode or in story mode.
Yeah, I think that is actually a really great way to bring a player into it, to entice them into, continuing following, continue engaging, and then picking up the full game, right? So I'm super stoked. Yeah, no, thank you folks for like joining in. I know we got some of the devs in the Discord now. I really appreciate y'all. Talking to us about your process. I thought it was really fascinating. I think the game is really fascinating and really is worth a look. It hits for me as like the casual player who I just want something that's pretty and feels fun to push buttons in. It hits those notes, and it also seems primed to allow people who want the like competition and the online play aspect. That's all like it's all lining up, right? So yeah, I'm super stoked to see the near future of this. Hopefully we're gonna get some more characters to try out at some point too, you know.
Yep, looking forward to it.
If y'all want to give us, a special digital basement build, I'm not opposed to this idea.
And yeah, looking forward to the online fix and hopefully some tournaments coming up soon because God knows I need to do some 6-6P.
Right? Yo,
But
thank
this
you.
time with Badash working on both sides.
Yes.
Yes, not a 50-50 that I can't do my best move.
Yeah.
That would suck. All right. Well, thank you so much for having us, Mike. We really appreciate it.
Yeah,
Thank you,
thank
guys.
very much. It was very fun.
Yeah, no, thank you guys for doing this. I really enjoyed it. I appreciate your insight into this from a development perspective and just from like your guys' personal background in fighting games. Everyone brings a little bit different, something different to the table, so I appreciate you guys bringing this. Andrea, where can people find you? What are you up to? Go.
Okay, so one can find me on Twitter under AndreaD Projects, but if you go on Steam, you can pick up my fighting game Schwarzer Blitz for €0. Or if you are into RPGs, I actually published my first commercial game recently. It's 8 Colored Star Guardians, grindless RPG with Super Sentai characters. And it's also just €5 on Steam, so if you want to check it out, be my guest. But in any way, you can also find me on Super Combo. I'm usually writing articles about indie fighting games, even if not so often as in the past, and hanging around in several indie fighting game Discord. If you have an new indie fighting games I don't know anything about, please send it my way. I just want to see them. I want to, especially if I have never heard of it. So, really, guys, please, if you have any access to any indie fighting games that I might not have seen, just ping me on Twitter or on Discord. Just send it my way.
The DMs are open.
Yes.
Absolutely.
All right. Mohast, what about you? What are you up to? Where can people find you?
As I said before, you can find me on my website at tommgoldrick.com. And you can follow me on Twitter, Blue Sky, FGC.network, YouTube, Twitch, and in real life at Mohast Gridlock.
Beautiful. And I, of course, am Mr. MKL, host of the Digital Basement here. Thank you all, as always, for joining us. As you know, I'm the guy who won't shut up about niche fighting games. We got, look, come on. Uchu Mega Fight and Robo-O in the background. Look, we're, like Andrea said, send us the demos, send us the links. I want to know about every niche and indie fighting game out there. We will play it. We will celebrate it. Aw, thank you. And yeah, thanks for joining us for the very first episode of Critical Frame. This is something I hope to do more going forward, getting more developers, more writers, more smart people who know what's going on and talk about fighting games in an interesting way and break them down. So, hey, if you want to join me and talk about stuff, maybe you're a developer and you have a game that you want to be talked about, hit me up. You can find me on Twitter at MrMKL_. Of course, the Discord as well, !Discord if you need access to it. And on Patreon, if you want to support us, the subs, the bits, the Patreon support is always great. It keeps us alive and well here in the Digital Basement. So, always appreciate it if you got it. Thank you again, Andrea and Mohast, for joining me for this lovely little experiment.
It was a pleasure. Always available.
Excellent.
Cheers.
I'll keep that in mind. Take care, everyone. Stay safe out there, and we'll see you next time in the Digital Basement.
Bye.